The most sinister thing in the world is the human heart. People harm each other for mere lifeless gold and silver. Outside, rain poured down in torrents. Inside a roadside inn, a gang of bandits from Dongting Lake were devouring meat and drinking heavily. Suddenly, a strange hand with long claws reached toward a jade tablet lying on the table. The hand belonged to a blind beggar with a touch of prophetic power, whom the bandits had captured to serve as a servant. That jade tablet had been stolen by the gang leader, who now wanted to ask the beggar if he knew its origins. Of course, the beggar knew. A deadly martial trial called the Five Venoms Test had recently drawn many heroes to participate. Each trial had 5 stages, and whoever passed all 5 would be rewarded with 1,000 taels of gold. But of the hundreds who entered, only one ever returned alive. That survivor was the hero Bang Shun, known for his soul-severing blade of the 5 lakes. He was also the original owner of the jade. However, Bang Shun had recently died under mysterious circumstances. The gang leader came into possession of the jade after kidnapping Bang Shun's son, a young boy named Bang Guang. Just as the bandit was about to kill the child to keep the jade, a mysterious guest entered the tavern. Unfazed, the stranger calmly assessed the number of enemies and the terrain, then walked up to the counter and ordered a bottle of Nuer Hong wine. The blind beggar sensed the powerful presence of this hero. The gang leader tried to offer the man a drink, but the hero cut straight to the point. "I'm not just here for the wine. I want the jade and the child." The bandits, unwilling to be intimidated, rushed him all at once. A 1-against-10 battle broke out. Yet the hero, with overwhelming skill, swiftly threw each bandit out one by one. Still, he didn't kill them, only left them wounded. When the blind beggar asked why he spared them, the hero simply said, "I promised my wife I wouldn't take lives anymore." He took the jade, knocked the knife from the child's hand, and told him to go home. That hero was Lin Yun, a sword master of the Lingyun sect. He had to take the jade because he was seeking those behind the 5 Venoms Test to avenge his late wife. Years ago, Lin Yun had fought the top swordsman of the martial world. Though he won, he was gravely injured. A kind-hearted girl skilled in medicine saved his life. She never asked whether he was good or evil, only treated him with compassion. They fell in love. From then on, Lin Yun swore off killing for the sake of their newborn child. Even when enemies came for revenge, he let them live. His wife had said that cultivating virtue would leave a legacy for their child. Their daughter grew up both gentle like her mother and talented with the sword like her father. It seemed their small family could live in peace. But one of the spared enemies, still harboring resentment, took revenge on the daughter. Lin Yun's wife, believing her husband's karma had caused their child's suffering, left home to roam the land and heal the sick, doing good to offset his sins. One day, she treated the wounds of Bang Shun, who had just survived the 5 Venoms Test. As she stepped outside to fetch medicine, a man called Master Shai, one of the masterminds behind the 5 Venoms Test, arrived to deliver the gold prize. But Bang Shun, driven by greed, not only wanted the gold, but also wished to join those who ran the deadly contest. Master Shai feigned weakness and begged for his life, while secretly triggering a mechanism that killed Bang Shun. Unfortunately, Lin Yun's wife returned at that very moment. To silence her, Master Shai killed her as well and took her exquisite jade pendant. The 5 Venoms Test was held annually. This year, Lin Yun joined to take revenge. He wasn't the only one. Many martial masters had gathered at the Xie estate. Some sought the 1,000 taels of gold and fame. A girl named Chu joined to earn money to treat her father's madness. A swordsman in white from Huashan's Ningjian sect, called Ning He, didn't care for the money. He, like Bang Shun, wished to control the 5 Venoms Test. There was also a short con man disguised as a monk, calling himself Master Kuang of the Dry Prosperity Temple. A youth named Feng Xiang from the Tongyuan escort agency also joined. Criminals brought in by the local authorities were forced to fight for gambling stakes. Among them was a giant built like an elephant who secretly loved the warrior woman Wu Min. Seeing Wu Min being harassed by an official and taking advantage of the moment the man unshackled him, the giant crushed the officer's head with a single hand. The rest of the criminals rushed forward, looting gold and stripping the official's clothes. When all the warriors had gathered, twin sisters Hong and Liu appeared on a high balcony to announce the rules. The true danger of the five venoms test was not the venom of snakes, scorpions, or lizards, but five venomous emotions that poison the human soul: greed, anger, lust, delusion, and pride. Thus, to pass, a hero needed not only martial strength, but also the ability to conquer the darkness within. To reach the first trial, participants had to pass through a labyrinth in the Shi mansion. It was cold and dark until they reached a spot that glowed with golden light. The source? Piles of gold, and the eyes of the greedy lit up like stars. Rushing toward the golden tree to grab as much as they could, the greedy ones paid no mind to danger. The smarter ones stayed back, watching, waiting for the deadly mechanisms of the trial to claim lives. Sure enough, someone was soon bitten to death by a venomous snake. Yet Moan was able to easily tame that snake at the second golden tree. The trap there was a rain of arrows. Once the greedy fell, the fake monk began collecting gold from the third tree. Lam Van had already discovered the hidden mechanism beneath the floor. He warned everyone to stop taking gold, but Miss Q, driven by greed, still pulled out one more gold bar. That triggered the golden tower to collapse. Chaos erupted as everyone fled. Unfortunately, Fang Duong and another unlucky person were caught by the trap. The other man was impaled by a spike that shot up from the floor. Fang Duong was terrified, nearly wetting himself in fear. He cried out to Lam Van for help, saying saving one life was worth more than building 7 pagodas. Lam Van took Miss Q's gold bag, much to her frustration, and then grabbed 2 more gold blocks from Fang Duong, replacing them on the trap beneath the ladder to allow him to escape. Miss Q tried to reclaim her gold, but Lam Van pulled her away just in time. A second later, and she would have been skewered. Many had died below, but the nobles watching from above remained unmoved. For them, the scene wasn't even exciting enough. This venom trial was orchestrated by the Grand Priest himself. The mastermind behind the deadly traps was Chancellor Zhao. The venom trial attracted many officials, even royals from the palace, who bet huge sums. The Grand Priest made a fortune. Thus, the 1,000 gold taels prize for the winner was nothing more than a grain of sand in the desert. The poor from the martial world gambled their lives, becoming pawns in the Grand Priest's business. The last stage, the Golden Snake Trial, was designed to exploit human greed. The survivors thought they'd passed the first trial, but that was far from the truth. The test wasn't over yet. One by one, they boarded a boat for the second stage. At this point, Hong and Lu Tin Dan began suspecting that Lam Van, with his calm demeanor, wasn't there for the gold. They tried to seduce him to reveal his intentions, but he said nothing. Once aboard, some criminals tried robbing others of their gold. Lam Van realized the Golden Snake Trial still wasn't done. He told Miss Q to give them the gold. It was better than drowning. Those who hoarded too much gold would sink. Sure enough, moments later, the boat began leaking. River water rushed in, forcing everyone to jump into the water. Anyone who wanted to live had to abandon their gold to swim to shore. From above, the nobles watched and predicted that greed would blind some people. Even faced with death, some wouldn't let go of their gold. And just as expected, many drowned. Only a few made it ashore. That was when the first trial truly ended. Some felt tricked and tried to quit the trial. They were immediately struck down by a rain of arrows. Once you entered the Venom trial, you had to see it through to the end. Before stage 2 began, everyone was allowed to rest at a temple. Meals of boiled chicken, roasted meat, and medicine had been prepared. But nothing was free. It all had to be bought with the gold they'd taken. Those who still had gold won the advantage. Moan had no money. She tried seducing a man who had food, but he wasn't tempted. However, that wasn't her real plan. She unleashed the venomous snake she had tamed earlier. Killing for meat wasn't forbidden in the Venom trial. The fake monk used a similar method. White-Robe Ming Hoa went further. He outright killed someone to steal medicine. Shockingly, he planned to share the medicine with the injured. Lam Van saw through him. Ming Hoa wasn't just kind. He was manipulating others to become his pawns in the next trial. Miss Q, grateful to Lam Van for saving her, offered to share food. He split it in half. One portion to Fang Duong, the other returned to Miss Q. He wanted no attachments. The next day was trial 2. The Scorpion Trial. Participants had to cross a bridge while blindfolded. This bridge had no hidden traps. Ninghoa whispered something to his men. When the time came, he blindfolded himself and walked across first, reaching the other side unscathed. Hong and Lu realized Ninghoa had a plan. Others, seeing how easy it looked, also blindfolded themselves and stepped onto the bridge. At the perfect moment, Ninghoa whistled. His men, hearing the signal, began pushing others off the bridge. This was the trial of wrath. Moan nearly fell, but was saved by the giant. Even when the fake monk threw rocks at him, the giant didn't let go. Those who removed their blindfolds were shot with arrows. Once the observation time was over and the timer ran out, Lam Van finally blindfolded himself and stepped onto the bridge. He told everyone to crouch low. Then he eliminated all of Ninghoa's lackeys. Time ran out. Poisonous scorpions were released, instantly killing those who were too slow. Lam Van reached the other side and challenged Ninghoa to a duel. The cunning brat was no match, yet Lam Van didn't finish him off. He let him live. Miss Q stabbed her needle into a scorpion. Lam Van noticed it. With fewer survivors left, Ninghoa tried to poison the giant during rest. But Moan's snake scared him off. Elsewhere, Miss Kyo tended to Fangshich Duang's wounds. After 2 trials, the trio realized only through unity could they survive. Thus, the trio alliance was born. Fangshich Duang shared his story. He came here to get gold for a dowry, to marry the one he loved. Lam Van then realized Miss Kyo was the daughter of Kyo Hong, a master of throwing knives. He had succumbed to inner demons, becoming a mad bear on Mount Changbai. At the sight of people, he would try to eat them. That's why Miss Chow sought gold, to treat her father's madness after some rest. The remaining survivors were sent to the 3rd trial, Illusion Toad Pass. This place had no hidden traps. Instead, the inner torment of each person would bring about their own end. Ninghua handed Lin Yun a candle to lead the way into the chamber, while the others followed with their own candles. Unexpectedly, these were enchanted incense candles that could awaken one's deepest regrets and hidden pains. Lin Yun encountered his awkward-looking daughter again. Miss Chow faced her mad bear of a father. Lin Yun chased after his fleeing daughter, while Miss Chow was desperately fleeing from her father bear. The others faced similar illusions and lashed out, killing nearby opponents. When Lin Yun caught up with his daughter, she blamed him for bearing such heavy sins that his enemies now sought revenge through her. She stabbed a knife into his shoulder. But in reality, it was Miss Chow who had stabbed Lin Yun. As both their candles extinguished, their minds returned to reality. Feng Qiang was being chased by a stone Qilin statue, haunted by childhood memories of once peeing on it. The spectators above delighted in the chaos unfolding below. Those who escaped the illusions exited the maze before the doors closed. The unlucky ones trapped inside were gassed out. After surviving, the fake monk once again tried to cozy up to Ninghua in hopes of rejoining the team. Elsewhere, the gentle giant shyly offered Sister Wu Min a small flower, which made her genuinely happy. Meanwhile, Miss Chow treated Lin Yun's wound, reminding him of his late wife, whose death had been orchestrated by those laughing from above. And so he resolved to win, just to face them, and finally have his revenge. The 4th trial, Arrogant Pride Pass, soon began. This round differed completely from the previous ones. Players were no longer allowed to fight alone or kill each other. Instead, they had to form a 5-person alliance, set aside their pride, and help each other through. All 5 were chained together at the waist. The fake monk pleaded with Lin Yun to join his team, but Lin Yun ignored him. So the monk turned to beg Ninghua, but Ninghua directly walked over to Lin Yun's team, effectively kicking the monk out. 2 teams of 5 had to climb stairs while dodging massive rolling boulders. The spectacle below wasn't thrilling enough, so the spectators paid extra to activate traps and supply weapons. What is given must be repaid, and payment was in blood. As soon as funds were placed, flying daggers rained down. Anyone slow to react would be skewered. Not only weapons, but poisonous centipedes and snakes were released. The giant was terrified of many-legged creatures, so Sister Wu Min hugged and shielded him. But the foul monk, unable to harm Ninghua, pulled Wu Min in as a human shield. Lin Yun, witnessing such cruelty, wanted to cut him down on the spot. But he hesitated, recalling his promise to his wife. The monk seized the moment, spewing powder before drawing a hidden dart, Feng Qiang leapt in to shield Lin Yun and took the hit. However, the monk failed to climb the stairs and was dragged down by the giant. Though he managed to kill the giant, he was bitten to death by a centipede. Above, Feng Qiang succumbed to his wounds. Miss Chow blamed Lin Yun, thinking his hesitation allowed evil to flourish and cause their teammate's death. Only 3 people survived the 4th trial. Meanwhile, Master Shun uncovered Lin Yun's true identity. He realized he had once mistakenly killed Lin Yun's wife, and now Lin Yun had returned for revenge. Shun vowed not to let him survive. While Miss Chow resented Lin Yun's hesitation, Master Shun sent Hong and Lu to seduce her, persuading her to betray her teammates in exchange for all the gold needed to cure her father. Miss Chow began to waver. The final trial, Twin Swallows Pass, began the next day. In a bamboo forest stood a sealed ancient pagoda. The 3 survivors were given 3 golden bells. If one could hook their bell onto the pagoda, they'd win. However, each bell was worth only 333 taels of gold. To win the full 1,000 taels, one would have to defeat the others and claim all 3 bells. As the round started, Ninghua cautiously moved ahead, keeping distance from Miss Chow and Lin Yun. He soon vanished into the bamboo forest, biding his time. Miss Chow and Lin Yun split up to find him. The wind swaying the bells created sound, revealing hiding spots. But Miss Chow failed to hit Ninghua and had to dodge sharp bamboo traps. Ninghua tried to ambush Lin Yun, but it wasn't that easy. Realizing direct combat wouldn't work, he played cat and mouse. Lin Yun, with just a few moves, chopped off Ninghua's ponytail. Still, he hesitated to finish him off. Unexpectedly, Miss Chow decisively stabbed her sword through Ninghua's heart, killing the schemer. But then, she drove her poisoned needle into Lin Yun's heart as well. The final victor was Miss Chow. The audience above was displeased. None had bet on her to win. That night, Master Shun personally came to reward Miss Chow, but he brought no gold, for she had disappointed his audience. Worse, her father's madness would never be cured. Okay, please send the chat you want me to translate and adapt the character names for. So staying alive is already good enough? What's the point of gold? Although Miss Q was furious, there was nothing she could do to him. He had twin sisters guarding him. Unexpectedly, Lam Van appeared like a god descending from the heavens. The 2 frail girls with bows and arrows were no match for him. He snatched their weapons and pinned them to the wall. It turned out the poison Miss Q had fired into Lam Van was 7 Moon Herb. This poison could cause a person to enter a death-like state. The entire plan was orchestrated by Lam Van and Miss Q. Even the tea the high priest drank had been laced with the herb by her. Instantly, the nerves in his body went slack, and he collapsed to the floor. Struggling to reach the mechanism, he was blocked by Lam Van. He pleaded desperately, but it couldn't sway a righteous heart. The person who had made Lam Van vow never to kill had been murdered by the high priest. So why should he keep that oath now? Moreover, the priest's limbs could no longer move. Lam Van made him kneel before the hidden mechanism, and moments later, the man slammed his own head into it, ending his life. The corrupt officials fell into chaos, trapped by their own devices. Each of their dark sins manifested before their eyes, driving them to madness. The evil they had done now came back to haunt them. The large ship they were on soon went up in flames, consumed by their own guilt and destruction. The blazing fire swallowed these wealthy but wicked souls. Lam Van returned the rightful share of gold to Miss Q. As for him, his revenge was fulfilled. Both of them had achieved their goals in the 5-poison trial. When greed crosses a line, it becomes a deadly disease that eats away at the soul. Greed not only robs us of inner peace, but also drags us into meaningless conflict and immense suffering. Wanting more in life isn't wrong, but letting greed become a bottomless pit is. Let this be a lesson, brothers. Greed brings ruin. That's the end of the film. If you enjoyed it, give us a like, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more reviews.